And thanks for joining us at 10 o'clock, everyone. I'm Phil Lipoff.
I'm Jennifer Meckles. As many people travel for the holidays, state health officials are now warning of possible measles exposure at one of the busiest airports in the whole country. Ours, DIA. It happened earlier this month.
The good news is that the person was vaccinated against the highly contagious infection, so the risk of transmission is lower. 9 News reporter Shalima Maharaj is live at the airport for us tonight. Shalima.
Good evening. State health officials saying a person who is not from Colorado was traveling through DIA while infectious. Now, that person had a connecting flight in Concourse B on the evening of December 12th. Anyone who was on flights with that person is being contacted directly. Now, as for people who were in the airport that evening, state health officials are warning you may have been exposed.
It's all about the holidays and spending time with our family.
Tom Mazzaferro and his family are back from Michigan.
Well, we always bring our water bottles, right, and fill it up here at the airport. We also use our antibacteria, right, and our wipes and so forth.
And the armrests.
Clean travel hacks the whole family is schooled on.
If I don't travel, I don't work. And if I don't work, I don't feed my family. And if I don't feed my family, we don't take personal trips.
It all goes hand in hand for this traveler who just found out about a potential measles exposure here at DIA.
It's not good to hear that it's happening, but on the flip side, for me and my family, it's not going to necessarily change what we do.
The state health department says an out-of-state traveler with a confirmed case of measles visited the airport on December 12th.
The big issue with measles, however, is that it can stay airborne for up to 2 hours and be transmissible during that entire 2-hour period.
That passenger was vaccinated, and even though the MMR vaccine has an efficacy rate of 97%, Advent Health primary care physician Dr. Ming Wu says it's not impossible to contract measles anyway.
If they were immunocompromised or for some reason when they got the vaccine, they had something else that was going on that prevented the vaccine from taking hold.
He recommends good old-fashioned hand washing, and if you're immunocompromised, wearing a mask.
Unfortunately, the incubation for this virus is anywhere from 7 to 21 days. And like I said, you can expose people even 4 days before.
Now, there have been 36 reported measles cases this year in Colorado. Last year, 0. Now, we asked Dr. Wu why that is. He couldn't offer one single reason as for that, but he did say that a number of the cases were linked to travel. Reporting live from DIA, Shalima Maharaj, 9 News.
Shalima, thank you. Traffic is crawling tonight on southbound I-25 in Denver. According to CoTrip, the right 3 lanes are closed at Colorado Boulevard because of some kind of crash. One of our 9 News crews actually just passed by that area and said it looked like some kind of a shipping container or something that looks like a shipping container in the middle of the interstate. They do expect this will take some time to clear, so please avoid that area if you can.
In the meantime, you know it, Denver is super hot right now. I mean, not like hot, but in comparison. And not just our sports teams. We're talking about the weather here. So far this month, the city is on average warmer than Nashville, Charlotte, Memphis, and Little Rock. And Chris, if I remember correctly, just yesterday, it was like 76, or was it the day before, or was it yesterday? Either way, you said the day we were 76, Miami was 79.
Yeah, exactly.
3 degrees off of Miami.
We were warmer yesterday than Jacksonville, Florida, than New Orleans, than San Diego, than Las Vegas. We were warmer than, by the way, both San Diego and Las Vegas today. Later this week, we may have a warmer Christmas than some areas in Florida. This is serious warmth. And I also want to clear things up a little bit here, right? We live in Denver, Colorado. Because of that 14,000-foot wall of rock just to our west, the Rocky Mountains, we can get downsloping winds. We regularly get into the 60s and 70s this time of year. We just don't see it this often this time of year. That is the difference. 1 or 2, even 3, 4 days, 60 or above, that happens every year. 13 days at or above 60 degrees. That's wacky. That's what we're seeing right now. Fort Morgan, things mostly quiet. Again, the story, those temperatures. These temperatures, these are close to our average highs this time of year. Average high for today in Denver is 43 degrees. The sun set about 6.5 hours ago, and we're still talking about those temperatures. I should say 5.5 hours ago. Look at those temperatures. 60 out at the Centennial Airport right now. 40s for the most part across the Eastern Plains, 20s. And the mountain satellite showing our next little push of moisture that could bring us some mountain rain for us on Christmas. That's right. Mountain rain on Christmas. I'll tell you about it in a couple minutes.
Coming. We now know who will serve out the remainder of State Senator Faith Winter's term. Winter was killed in a crash on I-25 near Denver the night before Thanksgiving. The 45-year-old Democrat spent 11 years in the state legislature representing Broomfield, and her term would have been up next year. In a vacancy election tonight, Colorado Democrats selected State Representative William Lindstedt to take her spot in the state legislature. He was actually already running for Winter's seat before her death because, again, Winter was term limited. According to his campaign website, he had her endorsement. Now, he will have to run again in the 2026 election, and because Lindstedt is already a sitting lawmaker, there will now have to be another vacancy election to fill the seat that he is leaving empty.
A woman accused of killing her 2 children before leaving the country is now in custody here in Colorado. Colorado Springs police say Kimberly Singler drugged and shot her 2 children in December of 2023. 9-year-old Ellie Wentz and 7-year-old Aiden Wentz both died. A third child, another daughter, who is now 13 years old, survived. After the killings, Singler left for the United Kingdom. Officials here in Colorado have spent the last 2 years working to get her back to the U.S. Today, they announced that finally happened.
Anytime victims have to wait this long just to get the sort of criminal justice process started can be very frustrating, and that is surely the case here. There's a sense of relief and knowing that now we can really get started on that justice-seeking process.
Singler faces murder and attempted murder charges that, by the way, come with the possibility of life in prison without parole. She will be held in jail without bond while she waits for her preliminary hearing.
A well-known immigration activist is celebrating her release from the detention facility in Aurora, but Jeanette Vizguera knows her fight's not over. She spent 9 months in ICE detention before she was released on a $5,000 bond yesterday. Vizguera has a long history of challenging removal orders. During President Trump's first term, she sought sanctuary in churches to avoid deportation. Vizguera believes the government targeted her with her latest arrest because of her activism. When she was arrested, her lawyers claim an agent told her, quote, "We finally got you." And ICE posted about this arrest, writing, quote, "High-profile status does not exempt a person from immigration law."
Sabía que por lo que yo estaba haciendo anteriormente en la comunidad, de preparar a la gente, de crear un sistema donde nos avisáramos dónde hay operativos para prevenir el arresto de las personas, sabía que iban a ir detrás de mí.
Now, the government still wants to deport Vizguera. She says she does not know her next court date, but she needs to check in with ICE next month.
A company known for its license plate reader cameras that law enforcement agencies use to help solve crimes also makes a line of cameras for the private sector as well. This week, links to streams of those cameras were on the internet for anyone to see, and some were here in Colorado. 404 Media and YouTuber Ben Jordan broke this story. They were first to report that links of streams of 67 flock cameras nationwide were posted on a website that requires no login. 5, labeled as in Colorado, were included. One was at Sandstone Ranch Open Space in Douglas County, who has a contract with Flock.
Every city and law enforcement agency needs to independently assess the security and the efficacy versus risk of these devices.
Flock says it has since cut off access to the streaming links. In a tweet this morning, they wrote that it was a limited configuration issue affecting just a small number of devices. A man from Fountain has been dealing with a lot of health challenges.
Yeah, for years now, but now a new gift gives his family hope this holiday season. 9 News reporter Rachel Krause has that story.
Finally, this third time, this is going to be a charm. It's going to work, man.
Time in the hospital 2 days to Christmas is many people's nightmare.
I think we should do it here.
For Scott Lee, this post-surgery checkup is a dream.
I came here for my Christmas miracle kidney, is what we want to call it.
Finding a new kidney for Scott wasn't simple.
I have a negative reaction with 99.4% of the population, so looking for that 0.6%. In 2005, I contracted what's called Goodpasture syndrome. It's very rare. 95% fatal. A lucky guess by, well, not a lucky guess, a very smart doctor guessed within the last couple hours of my life.
Once doctors found it, they cured it, but Scott's kidneys never healed.
I adjusted to it well and I hit it well. And then in 2020, they called and said they had a kidney for me.
But soon after, Scott was sick again. The organ meant to save him was killing him.
When they finally gave up and took it out, it was covered with mold and fungus.
A year later, Scott got sick again from the same mold, covering the stent supporting his artery. So more surgery and daily dialysis.
Scott was
when I first met him, he could hardly walk.
Dr. Omid Jazari is a vascular surgeon at Advent Health Porter. He says when he met Scott, his kidneys were diseased, his blood vessels distorted from previous infections and surgeries, his legs threatened by poor circulation.
He was getting to a point where, if he had developed any sores or wounds on his feet, he wouldn't end up healing them, and then he would end up getting amputations.
Dr. Jazari says Scott needed more surgery and another kidney. So someone in his church stepped up.
She just felt the need. She got up and said, "That's my meaning in life. I'm going to donate my kidney to Scott." She didn't even know who I was.
Her kidney wasn't Scott's match, but her donation bumped him up the list. And this month,
I got this call, and it's truly a miracle.
A gift that can't fit under any tree.
How do you thank someone for the gift of life?
The gift Scott and his family will treasure most this Christmas.
Every day is positive for him, and every day he counts his blessings. He says, I'm alive. I'm living through this. And now he got his kidney, and so we truly got a Christmas miracle.
In the past 20 years, Scott has been sick. He's had around 50 surgeries, and in the 5 years since that first failed kidney transplant, he's been on daily dialysis. He and his wife Jenny say this transplant is life-changing, helping to get his health back on track and give him some hope for the future.
You know, I feel like so many doctors have told me that if you have a good attitude, my dad was going through cancer, if you have a good attitude, it can actually help your health. And I feel like he's the perfect example of that.
Yeah, and his family said this and his doctors have said this, nothing really seems to get him down no matter how many different challenges he goes through, no matter how many things threaten to end his life. He really kind of comes at it with a good attitude. It's really helped him.
That's wonderful. Well, congrats to him. What a beautiful gift for Christmas. All right, Rachel, thank you.